Welcome to the British Online School podcast, where today we're going to discuss education and happiness. To discuss this, their education and career, we're pleased to welcome Sue Stone. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sue.
Hi, Danny. Thanks for having me on.
For those of you who don't know Sue, Sue is an author, motivational speaker, TV personality, a successful mum of three, and an all-round happy person. Do you think that's a good way to sum you up, Sue?
That'll do. Yes, I get called all sorts of things, but yes, I'm a happy person, and love life, and I think that's the most important thing.
Brilliant. And now a lot of what you do is based around that. So if I could just ask you to start off by actually explaining to us, what is it you do? Because everything I read about you is happiness, happiness, happiness. So how have you turned that into a successful career?
Well, I think the most important thing is it's not all about being happy, actually, in truth. It's about having inner peace and believing in yourself and being personally empowered. I think that's the most important thing. But as you know, Danny, because obviously you know a bit about my story, but what I do is all born from my own experience of many years ago, nearly being homeless. And with my three children and maxed out on credit cards and loans and debts after I split up with my husband. And excuse me. And I got to a desperate moment where I literally just had £10 left in my purse and no idea where the next penny, shall I say, or any money was going to come from. But that was when I can remember thinking, oh my Lord, how on earth has my life come to this? But I knew at some level, I thought, Sue Stone, you've got to change things, because if you don't do something to turn your life around, no one's going to do it for you. And that was the turning point of me searching ways to be happy, ways to transform my life, and reading a lot of self-help books, positive thinking books, the power of the mind books, that type of thing. And that's what set me on my journey, and realizing that actually anything is possible. You know, if we just include the right ingredients, we have self-belief and all that sort of thing. So it has unfolded into something incredible, whereas I only worked on myself for sheer survival in the beginning. And after a few years of, shall I say, getting my inner world right, changing my thinking and identifying beliefs that I had, negative or limiting beliefs that I had that were actually holding me back, and realizing just how powerful all that is. So after about 5 years of really working on myself and getting, shall we say, like the inner world right, feeling empowered and starting to really believe in myself, friends used to say, gosh, you help me see life in such a different way, you ought to be doing this stuff. So that's how it started. It wasn't like, I'm going to do this because I think I can make money. That wasn't even an issue at all. It was actually, wow. So I bought the domain name SueStone.com. I thought, what do I do next? I don't know what to do. But just did the obvious steps, website, lots of little steps in the now. So, and it has unfolded. I think what we give out, we get back, and at many levels. So.
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing you said there, where you said about 5 years it took you to get to, I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but you said it took about 5 years to get where you want to be. And I think that's important.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It was after about 5 years from me going in desperate in 1999 to 2000 to 2005, so 5-6 years, for me to, things had started to change quite quickly in the early, once I started changing my thinking and working on myself, and which is all I share with people now. It was at that stage in 2005 that friends just kept saying to me, you should do this. So that's why, it's because they could see the difference in me and see the results I was getting, and that you need to share what you've got to help other people. And I thought, wow, how exciting would that be? So that's how that started, really.
Oh, that's brilliant. And that's so nice to see that it was radiating off so much that your friends were encouraging it as well. And a true sort of sign that you can do anything. And we'll come on to that sort of side of power of positive thought, because I'm a big believer of it. And we actually connected through a mutual friend, Jojo, who is a massive believer of it. And she talks about it so much. How would you explain it to someone who, and I don't know if you can, but to someone who says, oh no, that's all baloney, that doesn't work, like, how do you turn someone into a non-believer to a believer, I guess?
They always say there's no point trying to force someone to do it. If someone's got to, I always urge people, don't wait till you get as desperate as I got before you wake up and realize just how powerful we all are. And anything is possible if we can believe in ourselves. Now, that's a really good question, actually, Danny, because all those years ago when I was desperate, people say, oh, be positive. You know, when you're in a desperate state and someone goes, just be positive, you want to sort of bop them one, you know, sometimes, not that I said, you know, obviously, but I'm being silly, but you know what I mean? When you're so desperate and someone goes, be positive. But I started to read from all the books. Now, it's really bizarre, and I have no idea why I felt it, but obviously at some level there was a bigger picture going on, but there was something in me that made me research more on why is it important to be positive. And I've done 20 years of self-study and research in this whole area, and I'm a living testament of, you know, how for many years now of just how powerful and how consistent you can have these results. But when you understand at a very simple level, which is what I've done, I haven't got any qualifications in this, it's quite this, you know, I haven't got a degree in anything like this. It's pure self-study and research and applying what I've learned into my life and understanding about energy, that everything in our universe is energy, and that through our thoughts and our emotions, how powerful our mind is, that we get fundamentally more of what we focus on, very simply. I've studied the science of quantum physics, of how our thoughts and our emotions can influence, but this is all science that backs up the ancient wisdom. So I always like that. I'm quite spiritual with my approach, but I've always liked that left brain science that backs it up, that has said that everything in our universe is energy. So without going into too much details on the, you know, I've studied neuroscience as well, and how we know now we're not hardwired. We can create new neural pathways in our brain, but we've got to start changing our thinking, changing our language, our self-talk. If we keep saying, I'm no good, things always go wrong, they will do. It's true to what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about life. So for me, I just explain to people very simply, and whichever way you want to look at it, we fundamentally get more of what we focus on. So if we consistently focus on failure, or we consistently focus on what isn't right in our life, we're going to get more of that at every level. And am I allowed to say one more thing? I know I don't want to be talking too much here, Danny, but one thing we've got to realize, you know, the science, quantum physics, all this stuff, but we have something in our brain, and this is really good for anyone really, and young or old. We have something in our brain called the reticular activating system. Now, it's a big fancy name, but very simply, it's like all having our own our Google alert mechanism. And it's a great analogy because we know how many people, you think of something, you Google it, don't you? So if we were to Google failure, poverty, misery, quickly put it into Google, flick it, people do it so quickly on their phone, don't they? And in a nanosecond, Google will bring to you millions of bits of information relating to failure, poverty, misery. However, if we keyed into Google, success, new opportunities, solutions, money-making opportunities, we keyed that into Google, Google will bring happiness. You know, whatever we key into Google, we know that in a nanosecond, Google brings to us millions of bits of information related to all those positive things. Now, that's exactly how I go like that, but it's not exactly there, but it's like my little Google alert mechanism. But that's exactly how our brain works, once again. So it filters out what we're focusing on. So we have to visualize where we want to get to, not where we don't.
I think that's a really, really nice way to explain that. Such a good way. I really, really like that. But what do you do?
Very clear, isn't it? Yeah, it's very sort of logical way of understanding it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But what do you do then if a negative thought does come into your head? Because I'm sure you are still just human after all, and they must occasionally pop into your head. So how do you combat that? How do you fight against that?
Okay. Well, I do joke that I don't think I am normal, but I'm so hardwired to be positive and grateful. Now, one thing to remember here, a negative thought only has power over people, over me, if we react to it and give it emotion. Okay. By giving it emotion is the energy emotion. That's what gives it the power. That's what creates the dis-ease in the body, which then manifests as illness. And, our immune system shuts down. We lose clarity. We lose focus. However, what I used to do when I had a lot of negative thoughts, don't forget, there is a transition when you first start to work on yourself. I was consumed with fear, consumed with desperation. My whole thought process and imagination was focused on, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be homeless with my 3 children. So what I would say to people, if you really do want to get results, is start to become the observer of yourself. Observe yourself. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And what am I saying? Because it's all very well. A friend of mine used to say, well, I'm a positive thinker, Sue. She said, but there's always another problem around the corner. And of course, guess what? Even though she was trying to think positively, she kept saying there's always another problem around the corner. And of course, true to form, then she was right. You see, there was always another problem around the corner. And I'll come back to that. And that's what I also love with this stuff is everybody is always right. The negative thinkers are right because they go, I knew it wouldn't work. I knew it would fail. And the positive thinkers are right because they go, I knew I'd find a solution. So everyone's right. But what I used to do was when I started to realize, hang on a minute, Sue Stone, you've got a lot of negative thoughts going on here. That one phrase that's helped me so much, a little phrase before I understood the depth of what I do, was my thoughts create my future. Yeah, very simple phrase. All those years ago, I didn't understand particularly why it was then, but I used to think, my goodness me, all I'm thinking about is I'm going to be homeless, like I said. So when I started to identify these negative or even limiting thoughts I had, I did what I suggest to people is to convert the inner critic to be your inner coach. And by that, I mean, I would think, let's say, for example, for me, a big trigger was a bill coming in. Even when I was aware of this stuff, like a bill I wasn't expecting or something, or another bill I can't pay, it was like, that would trigger me to think, oh my goodness. And the minute I became aware that I was starting to panic, I had a choice in that moment. I can either feed that negative thought and turn it into a complete and utter drama. Oh my God, if I can't pay that, I'm going to be homeless. And then the bailiff was going to turn up. And before I know it, I would have created a marvelous, terrifying scene of drama all in my mind, and which would have consumed me even further with fear. But once I start to catch on to the power of this stuff, I would put this thought here and I would say, right, I'd acknowledge it. I'd say, do you know what? It's okay that I'm having this negative thought, because right now, I don't know how I'm going to actually pay that bill, or I don't know how I'm going to do that, or it's okay that I'm having that negative thought because I've been thinking this way for a long time. But actually, I'm going to let you go, negative thoughts. So not feed the inner critic. I'd let it go and bring in, as I say, the inner coach, the one that says, come on, Sue, you can do this. Like we would hopefully support our children, our friends, people. There's so many great coaches and therapists or parents and all things out there that go really good at saying, come on, you can do it. If you put your mind to something, will come up. Whereas we tend not to do it for ourselves, do we? Sort of a lot of people can go into that self-sabotage. So it's bringing in that inner coach. And I literally would start to go, because I am now open to all the ways the solutions can be presented to me. I'm open to all the ways money can show up in my life. I mean, we're talking about money there, but it was just about every area of my life. But the fear of not having enough money was probably, well, without a doubt, the biggest fear I had to overcome. So that's it. So when you identify a negative thought, you just go, actually, I'm not going to feed you anymore. I'm going to say bye-bye negative thought, and I'm going to say, right, I can do this. Just come on, let's open my mind to seeing the solution. Don't forget, our mind is like a parachute that only functions properly when it's open. So it's about not focusing on or even judging our future results on our previous experiences.
Wow.
You know, if you keep failing and something goes wrong, actually that doesn't have to be your truth. You can say, actually, I'm now going to not let my future results be dictated by what's gone on in the past.
That's brilliant. That's fascinating. But do you think as well, since you've opened your mind to these positive thoughts and done all the things you just mentioned, do you feel like you've kind of overachieved what you were expecting as well? I mean, when you started on this journey, did you think you were going to end up on BBC One, ITV, all these shows inviting you to take part? Or is that just because your mind was so open and so happy, you've just gone off and been bigger than you ever thought?
Definitely. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. I mean, it has just effortlessly unfolded. I think because I've got quite a powerful story. Well, you know, it was a big story. Literally, that is absolutely true. I thought I was going to be homeless with my children down to my last 10 quid. To actually, and I know it sounds awful, but I'm sure you're not like this, but people think a man must have helped Sue, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, friends to help me, you know, at critical times. Of course they did. That's what, you know, friends do. They bring boxes of food and wine round for me and things, and, you know, give me money and stuff. So don't get me wrong, in those early days of desperation, there was lots of practical steps I had to do. But yes, it's gone way beyond. And I think I just set that intention that I'm here to help people, because, you know, it's incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. And yeah, then more and more these opportunities would just come to me. And if it felt like, obviously I don't accept all TV, as long as they were going to be, you know, a positive message, it's been great. Yeah, I've done, and it's unfolded into something way beyond my wildest dreams.
Brilliant. Fantastic to hear. So let's say you come across someone who is in a similar situation to you, like you say, down to the last couple of quid, really just having no hope for the future. What's the first thing you would say to them that they need to do? The very first, the most simple thing to make a big change?
Oh, that they need to do?
Sort of what's ground zero?
Well, it's a hard one, but I had to take full responsibility. There's no point blaming other people. I just had to go, right, okay, Sue Stone, if you don't do something to help yourself, no one's going to do it for you. And for me, when you understand the power of your thoughts, understand the power of visualization. I mean, sports psychologists, let's think about this. They've been talking about visualization. If you can't see yourself winning, don't bother even setting foot on the track. It's exactly the same. Banks with the business plans, they say visualize your business 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Dare to dream. And having that trust and faith, that's a hard one when everything appears to be going so horribly wrong. So I had to take full responsibility. And some people have an absolute trust and faith in God, that God will come in. For me, it was more I had trust and faith in the power of the universe, but I didn't have that in the beginning. I had to nurture and develop that trust. So my biggest message would be to anyone, just one step at a time. What action steps can I do in this moment to help myself? But also take responsibility for what you're thinking and what we are literally commanding our intelligent universe, because there is an incredibly intelligent universe. And when we try and micromanage it and think for the solutions ourselves, we have got this incredible macro intelligence in our universe. I mean, I could talk to you in great details about non-local phenomena, the science behind this, but I don't want to. But if anyone's more interested in that, they can delve more deeply, and of course that's what I've written about as well. But yeah, just dare to dream. We will only ever achieve in life as far as our thoughts take us. So if we think, oh, life's hard, or we only visualize a mediocre life, dare to dream that you can have abundance, that you can have inner peace and health and happiness and love. Everything is possible. Nothing is too good to be true. If you believe it's too good to be true, it will be. We have to be so mindful of the beliefs that we've got that are holding us back. Do we really believe that if we believe, you know, everything goes wrong, if we believe we're not worthy or deserving, no one is any more important than anyone else? We have to identify these beliefs and work on getting our beliefs right. Dare to dream that anything is possible. And
Awesome.
was that a bit of a long-winded answer? But it's a tricky
a
one, really.
answer.
Someone's down to the last few quid, but it's like almost surrender to the, you know, don't try and macro manage it. Do all the little tiny steps we can in the now, the practical steps. But we've at the point of, some people say let go and let God, you know, just surrender, but make sure you're visualizing where you want to get to, not where you don't. That is the biggest thing.
Yeah, perfect answer. So what are you daring to dream for next? What is next for Sue Stone?
Well, do you know, it's really funny that you asked that question, because I'm not daring to dream for anything. My main, there is one place, one physical dream that I have not achieved yet, and that is to move to a specific house that I have set the intention that I'm going to live there. Okay. And that one, I wrote about it in my first book. It's even been put on TV. And it's taken a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm very relaxed about it. My biggest key is to love the now. If you get frustrated or you've got an attachment to the outcome and you're needy at the outcome, you tend to not be in the flow of energy. So I'll be very honest with you, that's still there. I'm feeling it's close. But my main focus now is to thrive in the now. That's it. Do what I can. I've opened myself up for anything is possible. So if opportunities come to me, if it feels right, I say yes. So that's it. You know, this moment is all we've got, this moment right now. So rather than, you know, worry about the future or hold on for hang on to the past, that was one of the biggest tips, as well as learning how powerful our thoughts are, was actually when I learned to just love the now. The more you love what is and love the now, be it that it can be quite challenging at times. I know for a lot of people in the world at the moment, I'm very conscious of that. However, we've got to stay in our own bubble of experience and keep our vibration high. And that's when we're more aligned. Let me just say, sorry, Danny, I'm going off on one of your. Everything is energy. Everything is vibration. We know this is science, and we're all in our own way a bubble of consciousness of vibration, shall we say. People talk about good vibes. I get good vibes off them or bad vibes off them. It's the same thing. We're all vibration. Now, the science says two things in vibrational resonance with each other are drawn together. You know, either if they're not in vibrational resonance, it repels, like when we see the magnet the wrong way. It's either drawn right in or like that. But it's the same thing with having happiness and success in life, is that if we're predominantly in what we call the positive emotion spectrum, i.e. joy, gratitude, love, just being grateful for the basics, the air we breathe, being able to walk outside, being in a state of gratitude is absolutely a key to draw to yourself more things on that resonance. Whereas if we're in a state of worry, anxiety, fear, anger, bitterness, jealousy, all those what we call low vibrational negative emotions, we draw to us more on that level. So you're not remote. There's all the abundance in the world, there's all the love in the world, it's all out there. But if we're always in a state of lack, it literally will not come into our experience. Does that kind of make sense? It's just not going to come into our physical experience. So just to thrive in the now, I find it exciting. I anticipate exciting things are going to happen, and yeah, if I've got a project to do, like when I wrote my last book, I was very focused. I set the intention and I focused. I got it done. But also, I'm not pushy for anything. So, am I making sense?
Yes, yes, no, definitely. And it's nice to see you chuck sort of your experience in there, and that you're, like you say, your research and everything into it. It's nice to hear that as you go along your own journey as well. So I'm going to move on to a bit of an educational question now. Now, we are a school, but we understand not everything can be taught in school, especially during the small amount of time people are there. But do you put any of your success down to your school education?
Well, look, I don't regret anything. You know, I'm grateful for the education I had, but I guess it gave me a good grounding. However, what I would say, obviously, even after my education, my life still fell apart. I had a divorce. 2 years later, I was financially desperate, and so it's a tricky question, that. But I believe it's because but there's certain careers that the education is absolutely paramount, isn't it? Of course, the school, further education, university is absolutely paramount. Of course it is. And if anyone listening to this is, you know, wanting to go on and do certain things where you have to have the degrees and whatever, then of course keep your focus, but believe in yourself. I think that is the key, the belief in yourself. Don't be deaf to people that tell you you can't do it, because I've seen a lot of that. Is we have to be, you know, if you hear it enough, or little so and so, he's not very bright, or you'll never achieve. I've heard that from, dare I say it, teachers. I've heard it other parents speaking to their children. People that come and see me say, oh my God, I was always told at school I wasn't very bright and I'd never get on in life. Now, some people might think, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. But unfortunately, if you hear it enough and you start to believe it, you'll tend to create a life according to those beliefs. So, but I also know people that achieved absolutely nothing at school. They couldn't be bothered to work. They just didn't resonate with it all. And in later life have been the most incredible successful people, living a very happy, fulfilled, and financially abundant life. So it all depends on the individual.
Yeah.
And what they would like, their chosen career at the time.
Yeah, I do like what you say about the teachers as well, putting that negative message across. I think sometimes teachers underestimate just how much power they can have with their words, and it goes along with exactly what you were saying. But did you find you had any positive teachers or role models that you've looked back on now you've come on this journey and thought, actually, they were saying what I'm saying now to me, or did you not have anything like that at school?
It's quite a long time ago, Danny. Yeah, unfortunately, you're talking to somebody that all I remember is more about my children at school, you know, and how some of the teachers spoke to them, which I was really quite appalled. And in fact, went into the school to complain, I'll be honest, because, you know, my sons really, really worked hard for their GCSEs, having been told they wouldn't pass any of them. So I was shocked. And the teacher laughed at them, and then so I said, right, if you're really that bad, you're not going anywhere. They're twins. I said, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to study. And they ended up getting the most incredible results, and way beyond what the teacher had thought. Having said that, her negative words did inspire me at a teachers' meeting to put my foot down with them, and they did listen to me, and they were so grateful. But then when they went back to sixth form, all they got was negative talk to the whole lot. And I was just like, hang on a minute. They're so pleased to have been made it into sixth form. And the teacher gave a most disempowering speech to the whole of the new sixth form. So I did go in, I'm afraid. But
Wow.
And he acknowledged it, and things did change after that. In fact, he resigned, but not for me. But I think he was ready to have a breakdown, bless him. So, and get me wrong, I admire teachers. Please don't get me wrong. I totally admire teachers. I would not want to be teaching a load of kids. certainly not a load of teenage boys or girls. So I do respect teachers for that. I really do. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I can only talk from my own personal experience.
So when you were going into those schools and talking to the teachers about their negative comments, was that before you started your journey of positive thinking, that or before that?
Oh no, it was after that. Oh no, once I was doing what I was doing, and of course my kids were older, they were quite young and they were doing their GCSEs. I was, yeah, really, oh no, it was once had come out, if you know what I mean, doing what I was doing. I said, I'm a single mum. I've done my best to empower my kids, help them believe in themselves. They've come to school the first day. It was only this one time I went in, and I was never a mum that went in and complained at school at all. It was just only one time. And I just said, to be honest, I found it really disempowering for the whole year. It really was quite appalling. So, but no, that was once I knew the power of the stuff and how, if you tell people that, they're a waste of time and, blah, 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 then that's not inspiring anybody, is it? Let's be honest.
No, good for you. It was nice to see you going in there and sort of talking to them about that. What do you think should be taught in school then? If you could add one thing to the curriculum, what's that one most important thing that everyone should be getting taught in school right now?
It's funny, loads of people over many years have said, oh, this stuff should be taught in school soon. Well, it's the power of the mind, power of self-belief. And I even think a simple class in explaining quantum physics and explaining, as I say to everyone, very simply in our mind, we are the director of the movie of our lives in our minds. So direct a movie that you like the ending of. Dare to dream, visualize it, but be consistent in that dream. Visualize, yes, dare to dream, whereas why not? But keep that focus. Yes, put in the hard work. It's well worth it. It really is. And that's when life can unfold effortlessly. It's when we cap it and put the glass ceiling and believe, we're going to limit ourselves only if we believe we can be limited by it. So yeah, all this stuff that I'm talking about, it's an obvious thing to do. I mean, I think some schools do, and some schools have added things in. I know that. My sons went on a course years ago, but it was just 2 weeks out of nowhere. But they said, "Oh, Mum, it's all the stuff you teach." So we knew it all anyway because you talked to us about it all. But it was good that they did it. So yes, that's what I would put in. Everything that I bang on about.
And I love the fact you're so consistent, and like with a lot of questions you're asking, you're giving that same answer of the positive power. And we actually do that here. We have a couple of hours a week put aside for each student where we do talk about what they want to do, their aspirations, their mental health and well-being, all brought into one. And yeah, because we're a big believer of what you're saying as well. You do create your own destiny, and if you're going to say negative stuff about your future, it's a sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it?
Absolutely, spot on. Well done.
No, thank you very much. So what was your sort of highlights of school? What's your fondest memories looking back?
Well, it's funny because I went to an all-girls school up until my O-levels. Now, there you go. We didn't have GCSEs in my day. We had O-levels and A-levels. And I went to an all-girls school with incredibly strict headmistresses. And I didn't like it at all. And I remember think it was quite interesting thinking I hated school. So I can't remember. But then when it was the day we were leaving, I remember crying and thinking, why am I crying leaving school? I must have enjoyed parts of it. Had some lovely friends. And then in the sixth form, I went on to do A-levels, but I went to a state school nearby. So what was my question about? Did I have any fond memories of?
Yeah, what's your fondest memory? Yeah.
I think I was just a little bit mischievous, to be honest. So there was no one specific. I wasn't one of these people that absolutely loved school. So you're asking me the wrong question. It was being my friends. I would, my friends that I have that are the most important thing that came out of it. But I don't regret it, and I appreciate my dad. My parents were divorced, but my dad at least putting us through the private system, which we thought was the right thing to do at the time, whether it is or it isn't. And incidentally, because I'd had that, I did my best with my husband to their father to put my kids through a private education. My sister has a complete opposite view. All her kids have done state, and they've done very well. And so I'm not either way. But when things got desperate, of course, I had to pull my kids out of school very, very quickly, and because I, couldn't. The school were trying to help and accommodate with the school fees, but it was just got worse and worse and worse. And then it was like, there's no way. But the kids all said to me, "Oh my goodness, Mum, it's the best thing you ever did was pull us out of there." And they went to the local state school, so they loved. But maybe it gave them more freedom. I don't know. But so I don't regret anything. But as I say, to ask what was my fondest, has got to be my friends. That's it.
Do you think maybe that negative experience in your school life, then, not being able to recall anything positive from it apart from obviously your friends? Do you think that's a big part of why your life may have not started off as positive as what it is now? Do you think that had any effect in it?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't hell at school. I wasn't bullied. So it wasn't that I had a negative time at school. I didn't really enjoy school, but I certainly wasn't bullied. So some people I know have been bullied and it's affected them, to this day. So no, it wasn't that bad at all. But no, I mean, things in the beginning were going quite well, and it was, so I got married, and so no, I don't think so. Maybe I've made it to be a lot worse than it was, but don't forget, Dan, it's a long time ago. I've clearly chosen to, forget the anything. Yeah. It's. I think, and what we've got to remember as well is, it's only if we have a really negative emotion or nasty experience or really positive ones, they're the memories that we tend to store. It's the ones that were more indifferent and don't make any impact are the ones that we can more easily forget. So there's nothing dramatically awful either way.
Okay, let's try a different one then. Let's try and get an answer for this one. Since you started your journey in 1999 and to change the way you think and everything, what do you think has been the best thing that's happened to you since then? What's like a highlight of your career?
My life.
Okay. Nice answer.
I love my life.
Yeah.
And there's been no one pinnacle moment. It's just growing, expanding. I feel that it's what I'm here to do. I love what I do, and I love my life, and I'm very proud of my children. So there's been no one significant highlight, to be honest. I just keep doing what I'm doing and enjoy life. I've got one of my favorite affirmations is, I love life and life loves me back. So that's a good one to have in schools as well, to try and encourage people to love it and enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic answer. I mean, if you can't pick one thing out and your life is just amazing, then that's a fantastic question. And this is the one question I've been really looking forward to asking you. And it's a question I ask everyone right towards the end is, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone in school right now, what would that one piece of advice be?
Dare to dream and believe you can achieve it.
Nice, short and sweet. And I knew we were going to get a good one from you when I was looking up on everything you did as well. So Sue, if people wanted to follow your journey, buy your books, enroll in all the sort of stuff you do and sort of be a part of your positive atmosphere, where can they find you?
Thank you. Well, my website is suestone.com. And I also have the suestonefoundation.com, which is obviously for people wanting to join my foundation, be part of my team. And as they get older, people, having had maybe life challenges and using their often challenging experiences into helping other people. So that's a good thing. But in terms, and I do Facebook, and I put positive quotes on Instagram, on Facebook, and that type of thing, you know, to keep people in the vibe. And of course, my latest book, The Power Within You Now, How to Create a Life You Love, is available on my website in all formats. I did the audio version as well, which was quite fun, so the Audible. But that's a good practical manual. Even though I say it myself, I've had the most lovely feedback, because I just try and explain this stuff very simply, how and why we are powerful, and that anything is possible if we believe. So SueStone.com. And if anyone wants to buy a book from my website, of course I can sign it if they email me and ask me. So
Oh, brilliant. We'll make sure we link all that below. And honestly, Sue, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know there's, like you said, there's so much more you could say and go into. And I would love to hear it. But obviously, people need to come to your website and obviously see that for their self firsthand as well. But honestly, you just radiate, even through a computer screen, absolute positivity. And it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, Danny, thank you so much, and keep up the great work with what you're doing. It sounds absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for inviting me on.
No, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching our podcast today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss out on the new ones we post every Monday and Wednesday. If you are interested in enrolling yourself or someone else into the British Online School, be sure to visit our website, britishonlineschool.co.uk, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and send us a direct message there as well. Just use the handle @BritOnlineSchool, spelled SCH, and you can find all our links below. Have a fantastic day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.